mind, what would you say were actually some of the highlights of your career?
I remember I sang for 16 people in St. Martin. We went to St. Martin. We were doing this coming off of Coming High. Asterix came to America. We toured. We did some shows around America, and we decided we're gonna do the Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and then St. Martin. Turned out the guy in St. Martin didn't promote the show at all. And the worst part, he put us to sing in a brothel. So that is what we will find out after. People on the island don't go to those places for a show. But I think it's one of the best shows I ever played in my life, and had Asterix. So, you know, where you travel with the band and everybody, the late Gregory Bacchus, God bless his soul, I mean, he rest in peace. And same to my brother Winston Soso, God bless their souls. Now, Gregory Bacchus, we touring coming down the islands, and we got to St. Martin. And I tell you, we perform as if it was 16,000. And everybody, I guess we were hurt because, you know, you're touring and you come on only 16. But it's one of my best shows. And I always one of the mottos I have with, even if one person comes to see me, I have to sing for that one person as if I'm singing for 1,000, 1 million, because that person came out to see me. I've had an incident in Trinidad. People, and I, especially in America, I felt so bad. I feel so good in America that we have people turning out, but I always felt hurt for the people who spend the money to come to see Calypso. And the shows will start all like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes these people take the hard-earned dollars, they buy a brand new outfit for that night. They go to the hairdresser and they pay for that expensive ticket. And they come out there, and some people, sometimes they cry because they have to leave to go back home. The show ain't start yet because somebody downstairs checking money for us and they want to be up free. That's sort of craziness. And I always felt bad for these people. And they would spend the last dollar just to come out to see us. So I always identify and always be grateful. And then the bad part, about 9 out of 10 times, I'm the one who's singing last. So the time I sing in, half the people gone. So I always been eternally grateful for the Caribbean fans, and especially the Vincy people all around the world. They come out to see us, and I am forever grateful to these people. I just had one of the best moments of my career. Viv Richards came backstage the last time I played Antigua. It was a tribute to King Shortshirt. They did a special show for him and invited some of his favorite artists there. And he came backstage before I performed, and he said he came just to shout me out. And that was a special moment because I'm a big Viv Richards fan, a big cricket fan. And not only that, whenever I'm in Antigua and he's out of the country, his brother would come backstage and say, if he's in Australia or he's in India, and when he tell him Becket in tongue, he'd say, man, you go and make sure you shout out Becket. And Viv told me that he was so, every time I meet him, he would ask about Winston Soso, because he played soccer against Winston and he played soccer for Antigua. And he would always tell me, always tell me that he's so proud of we guys that we going on Trinidad, and, you know, the short shirt, King Obstinate and the Swallow and the Winston Soso, how we go in there and make a name for us. He was so happy. He always seemed so happy for us, you know. So that was one of the special moments you asked earlier. Another highlight now would be Colombia.
Bogota, they dancing in Barranquilla, they dancing in San Andres, they dancing Plaza de Torres, they dancing. Janet! Sing it now! Sisi, Colombia, Sisi, Caribe, Sisi, Colombia, Sisi, Caribe, Sisi, Colombia, Sisi, Caribe. Yeah! Sisi, Colombia, Sisi, Cartagena.
I hit the stage in Colombia. I was so shocked. I was shocked out of my. I couldn't imagine people would carry on like that because I am singing in English. These people, 99% of them don't know ounce of English, but they knew the song. So when I hit the stage with, soca they want, soca the jamming, I couldn't believe. I was shocked. And then I was on the front line of the #1 newspaper, the Sunday, in color. So that was one of really my highlights. Also at the first Caribbean Music Award, everybody chose to sing with tracks. And I don't believe in tracks. I don't even keep tracks because I may have hurt my career. Some had an opportunity to go on the BBC in England, and because I didn't sing with tracks, tell the guy I don't, and it's truth, I don't even have tracks because I like to have a live band behind me. So when they asked me to do a guest performance at the award ceremony, I tell them I am not going to sing without a band. And then they wanted me to play with Elimat and the GI Brass. And I say, Elimat, I like him, I like his style, but his style is not my style. I want to come in my group. And we convinced them. They hired Rebels. As you know, 90% of Rebels are Vincentians. So I Went there, we sound check. The guy who mixed teaser, Julian McBrown, he sound checked the band and left. He wasn't even there for the mix. And everybody went up. They sing to the tape, and the audience was so dead, and they barely clap, and they had to sometimes they stop the tape, and they're preparing it as a TV production. But you have people they live. What you gonna? And I just tore the place up when I went on the teaser. Big song, and I see there's a fund up well there. Vincy lady up in the balcony, you know, carrying on, you know, with your finger in the air and rocking and singing teaser. I would never forget that moment. And it's the video that they really should be playing in St. Vincent of me. And then people will change their whole thought, their frame of mind when they see me playing. Tell the people whenever they're playing the out of sync videos to play teaser, the live version of teaser at the Apollo. And people will see a different Becket.
We dance all night until we wet. But when I ask you for your number, you have a negative answer. Girl, you ain't nothing but a teaser, a dirty, dirty teaser. I love the way you dance the soca, but you ain't nothing but a teaser.
There are several awards that you have gotten over the years, and of course you're a cultural ambassador, and there were so many other awards for teaser, awards for your work in arts and culture, and you were also named one of the 17 most influential Caribbean people of the 20th century. What sort of burden or responsibility comes with that sort of recognition?
Well, I didn't even know that because I learned of it. It came out of St. Kitts, and I have good luck with St. Kitts people because one of the guys, I would say this guy more than anyone else that encouraged me to always be at the right time and the right place, the late Hubert Phipps, who was a police corporal in Layu. Back then, a corporal could have been in charge of the station, as opposed to now I think is a station sergeant and stuff. So Phipps would have seen me here. My very first performance in St. Vincent on a stage was Thanksgiving 1968. And to correct my earlier date, my performance at Peace Memorial Hall was 1969. 68, I performed at a Layu concert. Back then, Thanksgiving, which is the American holiday, used to be a holiday in St. Vincent. So on a Thanksgiving night at the Layu Lodge, the Providential Lodge, they call it at the time. They had a talent show. And I went up, I sang Imaginary Commerce, Edelweiss first, then Imaginary Commerce by Duke, and then All You Look For War, which was written by David Durham, but I adopted it and sang it as my own song, Change Around the Words. And I rehearsed with a guy named Vin Cambridge, the late Vin Cambridge. He was a good guitar player, but he probably freaked out. Rehearsed with the man for about 2-3 weeks. And the night of the show, he decided not going to play. And it's only the one guitar. So I had to go up and sing a cappella. And then by the time I get to All You Look For War, a father figure in my life, they call him the late Envoy Pereira, better known as Boots. He came up and played the guitar for All You Look For. So it ended up well, but it was from that angle I did a cappella for the other songs. And from that angle, you know, with all the disadvantages in the night, the things went wrong. Fix met me the next day and he said, you're not a bad singer, you should take this thing seriously. Okay, I got to New York. This was 69. 69, I migrated in May 69. And I'm staying by this lady who put me up as a favor to my mom, Marilyn Tibbles in Brooklyn. And at that time, I'm just trying to settle into America, not even thinking Calypso. Fifth show up there, he knew Marilyn from back. He came up on a holiday and he had me singing for them at the house. But I came to St. Vincent now in 75, and here is Phipps again. I got to Victoria Park in the finals, and Phipps there, every time I sang the semi-finals, he get behind the band and tell him, you got to, you know, try to get them to give me the best. And this is what he would tell me after well, first of all, I sang Mass at Victoria, because I always sing my party song. I always like to go, I don't believe in the rules about this. I think a song gonna work. If you have a good song, it would work anytime, any place. So people always say save your party song for last when the audience tired. So I went the reverse. I did Carnival History as my last song in the second round. Anyway, when I did the first round, they called me back to sing over Mass at Victoria because they think the judges didn't hear me because the PA or something broke down. But I thought they just wanted me to sing again. And I said, well, I'm going up there again. I was mad. And Phipps came and he said, man, listen, you come so far, go back. He came back. And then he would tell me after that he went up there for each song and he tell PT, there's a countryman. I think that's where I thought PT was. All my life I thought PT was from Barley until Frankie corrected me a couple of years ago. He told me that PT is really from the PT he knew. PT is really from Maurice Village. He didn't think PT used to be a teacher in Barley, so I thought he was a Barley man. But Phipps thought so too. So he said, Phipps, he tell PT, man, this is because PT was playing horns for Revolution at the time. And he said, man, go on, and you got to give Becket everything, man. As a countryman. So this is what he tell me after. So Phipps was there, and you know, I won the crown and stuff. So he was there in 3 pivotal times in my career, you know, at the right place at the right time. He encouraged me, and he always stood by me. And he passed away before I could even get to really show him my real appreciation. And unfortunately, God bless his soul. May he rest in peace.
So as a cultural ambassador and as somebody with so many awards, what sort of pressure does that put on you as you carry yourself throughout your career?
Well, I have to say thank you to the Prime Minister. I got my official thing was not as formal as later, I guess, because they were doing it for the first time. I heard that I was given the award or whatever. What is the correct word there?
The cultural ambassador.
Yeah, I was made a goodwill cultural ambassador. I heard it from before I got the official notice from. And I don't even think I ever got an official notice, but I'm grateful. I want to say thank you now to the Prime Minister for bestowing that upon me. And it's very nice when you come home that you can go straight through the line. People rush to get off the planes, and from the time I got that, I don't rush to come off planes anymore. Well, especially the Caribbean. I just go straight to that side, the diplomats, and I'm ever grateful for that.
But
I say
shouldn't that
I am
come
forever.
with responsibilities? It can't just be about allowing Becket to breeze through airports. Becket has so much more to him than just someone who is deserving of an easy time through the airports. And there's so much that will be lost if we don't use the opportunity to harvest some of your talent and your skill. Don't you think that as a cultural
Well,
ambassador, there should be
before,
some sort of responsibilities?
yes, I kind of say that. I say they gave me the passport and everything, but I never really, I haven't gone to too many places representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that part of it is sad. But I don't really hold that against anyone. I don't think anyone owes me anything. I always do things. I did do my calypso and everything for the love of it. And I get full support from my family and friends. And I am happy, but I could understand how you think, because that's the way I feel about Frankie McIntosh. I think it's be a sad day. It is sad that Frankie McIntosh could pass through this life and didn't have an opportunity to pass on the wealth of talent this guy has to Vincentians or to Caribbean people. And
And
to
none
let,
of that.
I know he
Sorry.
could have the opportunity to go to Trinidad. I know before COVID, he used to go to Trinidad every August. But this guy has so much talent and so much educational background that I know can help. We have some talented people here, but with the help of Frankie McIntosh, I know they will go even further.
Tell us about your
And
relationship with Frankie McIntosh Becket.
Frankie's like the older brother I never had. A very, very humble, great human being. And I think he could have been a genius at anything. He knows a lot about medicine and, the medical, illnesses, signs and symptoms. And, he's just a guy, a rounded guy. And he could have been, like I say, any field he would have chosen to venture in, he would have been bigger than it. But the thing about him that impressed you most is he's very, very humble, and he's a true patriot. He loves St. Vincent. He'd do anything for St. Vincent. I think the whole McIntosh family, they're very patriotic people. St. Vincent comes first of everything else.
What are some of the more popular collaborations that you've worked on together?
Well, the things that we worked together on, they were on the bigger hits. First album, the Calypso. He's been the arranger, and then we sometimes when I have a lot of songs, I get his opinion on which ones to go with, pick out and which ones not to go with, or leave this one for another time. So each part we name the album. We have 6 songs. We decide which one we have to go, which one might be the best for the title track. Most of the times we're wrong. So as I said, if an artist knew what song would be the big hit, they'll be turning out songs every Monday morning. They'll be turning out hits, but you never know. You could pick one because we thought Give It Up and the album with Small Pin. We thought Give It Up was going to be the big hit, and so we named the album Give It Up. And I guess Casablanca thought so too with Disco Calypso, and I guess because of controversy, they wouldn't have named the album Coming High. But for me, I would have just called the album Coming High. But then,
just going back to your choices of topics and lyrics. You grew up in a time where I guess we were still steeped in colonialism, yet quite a few of your earlier songs speak out against oppression and racism and discrimination. Where did you get the courage from to tackle those topics at a time where it could have destroyed your career?
Well, I'm a God-fearing person, and once I figure I'm right in the sight of God, I respect my fellow man, but I won't back down for that reason. So that's how I take my topics. If I'm a man, like I say, man of principle, right over wrong, and I try to take the right side in an issue. And then sometimes you know, people wouldn't even understand if I tell them, or they won't believe, I should say, if I tell them what inspired me to write Oppression. You ready for this one?
Story. Yes, yep. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I am doing a Caribbean tour. As we're in my businessman hat now. I'm coming down, I left the Virgin Islands, so I'm hopping in every island to try to establish relationships with different people on the different radio stations. And so I'm going into St. Kitts now, and I'm staying at this hotel. And at that time, Musduck was very popular in the Leeward Islands. And I'm sitting on the guest house or the hotel, which is very close to Warner Park, St. Kitts' famous cricket ground. Walking distance. And this gentleman passed up the road, and he tell me he have some sugar cake. He have this sugar cane, so I ask him where he get the sugar cane from, because I love sugar cane. And he say, you want a piece? And we got into a conversation, and he offered me a piece, and I said, boy, you couldn't offer me. And he said, man, I so sorry, because we started trying to tell him from St. Vincent what I'm about doing in St. Kitts. And he said, son, I tell him I sing and stuff. So he said, man, I so sorry, I can't do something better for you. I thought that's all I could offer you. I said, man, you couldn't offer me something better. And right there and then after he left, I heard the cry in St. Kitts. And that's how songs come to you. I hear the cry in St. Kitts. I hear the melody, and I hear melody and words the same time, 9 out of 10 times, most of my songs. So all I heard was that first line. And by the time I got down to St. Vincent, still island hopping coming down. By the time I got home, that's how I wrote Oppression. It had nothing to do with politics. And in the end, when you tailor make it, it wasn't like a political experience. And in a sense, indirectly, it was, for him, it was the political status of the country that he could only afford to give me a piece of sugar cane, as opposed to buying me a couple of beers or rum or something. So, but sometimes people would think that you wrote it because you wanted the Labour Party to come out and Mitchell to win, to come in with NDP. Nothing of the sort, furthest from my mind. So,
just empathy with your fellow Caribbean man.
That's right. I was moved to, and that's how I write my songs. An idea come to me, and if I think it's a good idea, I try to develop it.
oppression. Brother, get in there and join the bandwagon. You oppose the ruling party, you become an enemy, and you put sweat to Jah Almighty. That's your destiny, your destiny. You crying Nasa. Oppression underneath seclusion. Oppression, oppressors, leave me alone. Oppressors, come off the board. Oppressors, leave me alone. Oppressors, give us some children. Come off the board. Give it up for Julia. Come on, give it up. Nice up. Oppressors. 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 Leave we. Leave we. Leave we. Leave we alone. Leave we. Leave we. Come on, people. Oppressors. Oppressors. Leave we alone. Oppressors. Good God. Come on, people. Oppressors. 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 Come on, people. Oppressors. Leave me. Leave me alone. Oppressors.
So, talking about empathy and entering into the feelings of your Caribbean brothers, tell us about this one. This one is Don't Look Down on a Man. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, one of my favorites. I had this song in my head, but one of the things about me to share with the younger people, I don't rush anything. I don't rush ideas. If an idea come and the vibes is there to finish it right away, fine. But sometimes I just get the idea, and this is guy at WLIB in New York, Carl Anthony, worked at WLIB at the time, and every time he signed off the radio, he would say, never look down on your fellow man unless you're going to pick him up. Not the exact words. And I say, boy, that's a good idea for a song. And I had that in my head. I never rushed it until around 2000, between 2000 and 2003. One day I'm in the laundromat in Washington, D.C. on the Maryland side, because I'm on the border of Washington and Maryland. I'm over there doing some laundry, and the whole song just came. And this was like me at least 10 years after I had the original idea. I all saying that's a good idea for a song. And the whole thing just came to me, and I started writing it. And I finished writing it right in this bedroom in Mayu. And the funny thing you discover, people tell you they have writer's block. I don't know what that is. I just tell people I'm blessed. I think I'm a messenger. And the songs come to me. But finishing up writing the lyrics for the song, I'm sitting down at the bedroom window. When you look out to the main road of Lay, you people walking up and down. And it has nothing to do with me writing. I could write. I had a similar experience in Trinidad, a song that I have not written yet. But I'm flying into Piaco. Too late to catch my connection flight. I'm late, but I was still in time to catch my connection flight. But there's a lady who I befriended, chatted with her on my way to Port of Spain to connect. And Leah took us last minute. And when we got there, this lady definitely missed our connecting flight. And I felt badly. I say I couldn't leave this lady here. But while I stayed there to help her sort out, to make sure she's safe and everything. And while I'm there waiting, in the background, far away, I see Dextra like she's gonna check in to go someplace. And I'm hearing a song right there and then in the busy, airport with people departing flights and people checking in. That is one of the biggest shock I got. I could never see how I could hear a calypso under those circumstances, not relating to anything there that's happening at the airport. So, and like I tell you, I could look at the busy highway, people walking up and down the Lay Street, and it don't affect me writing the words, the second and third verse to the song.
If it's one song I have to sing, never look down on a man. Unless you're going to pick him up. Today you up, tomorrow you down. On your fellow man, don't ever look down. Black or white, old or young. On a man in need, never from. It ain't no fun. Don't look down on a man unless you picking him up. Picking him up. Reach out with a helping hand to your fellow man. Always do the best that you can. I beg you, don't look down on a man unless you picking him up. Be good to your fellow man, even when he's wrong. Always do the best that you can. Today you lose, tomorrow you win. According to how the pendulum swing, life has a way of throwing a curveball. You hanging up high, suddenly you fall. Thought you had it all. Don't look down on a man unless you pick him up.
Tell us about the evolution of your music. You started as a calypsonian, you've done raga soca, you've done soca. How did you evolve?
I was always singing raga soca long before it was raga soca, and it's funny that everybody claiming they started it, but when you find somebody who sings something before coming high, which was the first raga soca in my opinion, then you could tell me who started, But I never, like I say, I try to balance my album and I try to put Cyrus against, and against Human Party. And I just try to do a balanced album. I never think about the switch. I would I tell you what I do, and this is one of the way. Sometimes the musical thing, sometimes I didn't even understand. So one day I'm in the studio, I will wind down King. The movement on the guitar is that you're sliding your hand down on the bar and you go down 3 frets and you're buying the same strings, but it's different. So you go wind down Kingston bad on the bad. You're coming down, I think you start an F. If you're in F, you come down to F sharp to G. You're hearing the bad on the G. And things like that, I would consult Frankie and say, listen, I'm hearing this strange thing here. And he say, don't matter about that. Once you hear it, just write it. Just go with that. And I had a similar experience with him with Vincy Mas. I said, boy, I'm hearing this song, 2 lines in the verse. July in the sun, July we getting down. And after that, I gone into the chorus. Vincy Mas, I tell you. Vincy Mas, I warn you. It's 2 lines in the verse, 2 lines in the chorus. Now I'm talking to you, I realize is a similar thing to Coming High, but Coming High was repeating the line. And I say, boy, so I put on something I call the bridge now because it was so short. So he said, so I said, boy, I never hear a song that with a chorus so short and a voice so short. He said, don't worry about it, however you hear it, you know. So he always encouraged a part of it. He would say, if you hear something different, he would never say, well, that ain't, some fella will tell you, that ain't a calypso, that ain't ready yet. A fella told me St.Vincent and I Love You wasn't ready yet.
He must be eating his words now. So really and truly, it is just, you're not a conformist. It's just whatever touches you at that time.
And that's the pivotal thing that great help I've gotten from Frank. He always endorsed. He said, whatever you hear. When I had Cardo, I say, boy, I hear this song about Cardo, but I don't want to touch religious themes, you know. And, you know, he said, man, whatever you hear, you're supposed to sing. And I went to work with Cardo. So, because Cardo was kind of religious, I didn't want to keep about being sacrilegious and stuff, you know. So he would always encourage except for one song that he thought, and I wouldn't mention the song, I won't mention the topic, that he thought, you know, it wasn't a good idea to sing that song at that time. So I respect his views, but it wasn't from a musical perspective. My consultation with him was from music. How could I hear 2 lines in a chorus, but I'm not hearing anything else? All I'm hearing is a bridge. Get down in the sun, make, so he said, however you hear it, and we had a song out of it. Vincy, man.
July in the sun, July we getting down. Vincy Mas, I tell you, Vincy Mas, I warn you. Blackorama Market Square, discos everywhere. Vincy Mas, I tell you, Vincy Mas, I warn you. Get drunk in the sun, make love in the sun, drink your whiskey in the sun, let us get high in the Vincy sun. Now we'll tell you, Vincy Mas, I tell you, Vincy Mas, I want you fast. Aquatic every night, Dijane dynamite. Vincy Mas, I tell you, Vincy Mas, I want you. I'm Asterix, Black Sun, Apocalypse. Vincy Mas, I want you. Vincy Mas, to the bridge. Get down in the sun, make love in the sun, drink your pretty in the sun, let us get high in the Vincy sun. Are we a tell you? Vincy Mas, I tell you. Are we a warn you? Vincy Mas, I warn you. Sing it. Oy, 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 ay, 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 oy, 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 oy. Ay, 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 oy, 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 ay, 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 ay.
You've talked about your music and Frankie's influence on your music, and you also went on to talk about Raga Soca and the origins of Raga Soca in St. Vincent and the fact that they go even further back than where we would like to peg it and back to Coming High. How would you weigh in on the discussion between the originator of soca? Is it Maestro or is it Short Shirt?
Not, you mean Shorty?
Sorry, Shorty. Lord Shorty.
I don't think none of them. And this will shock a lot of people, but it's the gospel truth. Soca, I tell people they changed the word, but they never changed the music. If you have to credit any one man for soca, it's Frankie McIntosh. He changed, he revolutionized the role that the bands played in the music. But we didn't change the name. I will say to an extent, I was like a foot soldier with him there. I was in there. I was in the battle with him. But we weren't out there trying to change no name. But you look back, listen back to the music. And anything they tried after, they were done after Frankie, after Coming High. You look at the dates. That's why every record I made, I put the dates on there. And you go back to the dates. And they didn't change anything. They didn't change. The music got revolutionized. If there was no Coming High, there would have never been a Sugar Boom. I tell people those things all the time. And that is the gospel. Sugar Boom will tell you, Sugar Boom Boom was a more revolutionary soca song than anything that Shorty sang. And so is people who didn't get credit in Trinidad. People like Rootsman, the late Rootsman. God bless his soul. And Scrunter. Yeah, these are country guys and they did Limelight, Saga Boy. But these guys made a bigger contribution to soca than all the other people who claim they did this and did that. And they never got the credit. And a lot of them, Scrunter, his big numbers, they were done by Frankie McIntosh. They were arranged and the music played by Frankie McIntosh. So you got to look at that.
So this is a never-ending discussion. We're never going to get to the end of this discussion, are we?
You tell them, come and meet me. I read it for them because I am Becket, man of principle, right over wrong. None of them. Even Shadow, bigger contributor to soca than Lord Shorty ever was. God bless Shadow's soul too. And Shorty's soul.
This is a very interesting perspective, and I'm sure that we're going to have a lot of discussions coming out of your position on this. So I'm positive that you're going to end up on Calypso College defending your position. Further expounding on and defending your position.
Yeah, I'm ready to defend it anytime. We never changed the word. We didn't change the word. We just did different things, you know. And Frankie McIntosh, that bass line, nobody had a bass line in Calypso before, you know. They came and they made some good hits after they followed what Frankie was doing. Even Summer Shorty, all this stuff. When he spotted Frankie, he had Frankie play some keyboards for him, you know, Om Shanti Om and stuff like that. But I think I personally believe Shorty invented chutney.
Chutney,
you know.
Okay, so you credit him with that for sure.
Yeah, I would credit him, but they don't credit him for chutney. They credit chutney to the Indians, but the Om Shanti Om and all them things there. I think Shorty.
That's the beginning of chutney soca.
Yeah, I think.
Becket, well, first let's talk about you touched several times on Becket, the businessman, and one of your business ventures was your own record label, your Coco record label. Tell us about the record label and some of your artists, some of your productions on that label.
Well, I use the label because when I first went out, a lot of the producers, they didn't treat me well and they wanted change words about to Trinidad. I have nothing against Trinidad, but why should I change my song that I wrote about St. Vincent to Trinidad? I didn't feel that way. I felt I could do for St. Vincent what Kitchener did for Trinidad and Tobago and he sing Trouble in a Rima. I shouldn't have to go and change my name from Mass at Victoria to Mass at the Savannah and stuff just to get through the door. I didn't believe it. So a lot of things like that I disagreed with. So I had no choice. I say if I had a godfather, a lot of the Calypsonians had godfathers. I made it without a godfather. So I was forced into doing that because I wasn't willing to go along with people rushing me in and out of the studio. I'm a sort of perfectionist by nature. So I had no choice but to come with my own label. Not that I really wanted to do that. And it became a burden. And then again, when you make 10 cents, although people did the stealing here and there, when you make your 10 cents. But the truth is, if I had a godfather like some of the other guys, I would have been further gone musically because I was more, I was to tell people like sometimes I hear a song out here, idea for a bass, idea for the drums. And once you get burdened into the business part of it, that you lose that part. You just hear the song and you're ready to roast and go, But so it is not the thing about it that I'm happy that I was able to do was to help other people. Once I had the success of Teaser, I decided to produce some other people. And I think it's one of the better albums we ever did, although people don't credit it to us. Frankie and I produced the Soca Inferno album. Just today I was thinking maybe we give it the album a wrong name. But people, songs like Hyper, One Caribbean Nation, and Party Before Country, and this Calypso Business Ain't Easy. Those are some fantastic productions. And Happily Married by The Man Age and Otis, Get Up. You know, some heavy stuff we did. And that album, all the money I made from teaser, we put it into that album. You know, we took Hype Up and Little Kemi and stuff up to America and they recorded. So you're happy you did it, but then as an artist, I should have had somebody. Byron Lee gave me that advice, and I'm really sorry now. When I mentioned it to one of my brother, when he felt Soca Rock Cabaret, he was doing it. He had a very good version of it, and he had a bass player. So we did a benefit for Desperados up at Laventille. Desperados, Arrow, Byron Lee, and Becket. We went up there and performed for them. And when we rehearsed Soca Rock Cabaret, he had this bass player he brought down from Jamaica, and they played that song so well. And he turned and he told me, he said, man, the kind of songs you're writing, you should just focus on the writing and the production and get a brother to handle your business part and leave that to them, and you just focus on the writing. It was very good advice. Now, I have a very good relationship with one of my sisters, and I was telling somebody, had I known then, if I had a closer relationship with my sister, then she would have been the one. She's very capable to do that kind of work for me. And so it's not I wasn't the best of businessman, I would say. I would say I think I was a good businessman, but not the most successful. And then people rate you according to your success. Yes. So
what are some of the other, I mean, one of the things you said is that you didn't have a godfather in the industry, so your journey was a bit more challenging than that for other artists, I suppose those in Trinidad in particular. What are some of the other challenges that entertainers generally experience in your industry?
Well, you have, one of the sad things is that people, they try to, but I am not one to really, at an opportunity to allow people to run over me. I tell people how it is when, you know, I could only take but so much for at a time. And I took one of Calypso's top producers to listen Coming High. Before I even got to Casablanca, I took him in the studio to listen Coming High. But then you imagine Coming High coming out, the biggest Calypso at the time in New York. We talk about New York, the capital of soca and Calypso music, which is the truth because you have all the Caribbean people there, and that's like the top. And everybody want to get to New York. I took this guy to listen Coming High. So I am trying to tell you now, Coming High is like 108 beats per minute, and Taurus Lego is 128, maybe 132. So and Taurus Lego is the biggest hit in the Calypso world now. The biggest song came out of Trinidad and big, and I am trying to make this song that is a hymn to compare to Taurus Lego. and so I carry this guy now, and he sat down in the studio and fell asleep. So years after, when Coming High came out and made the big hit now, he said, boy, why you never bring that song there to me? You bring all this and that. I said, man, listen. I just watch him and laugh. But he couldn't relate to Coming High, so he fell asleep because Coming High is like, you know, I wasn't following the trend. I could have, some people now would have a song like Coming High, and they will get in the studio and try to speed it up just like Taurus Lego to say they have to keep on the Taurus Lego. But I never believe in that. I always believe in going with a song the way the song is, the concept I have of the song. So that's one of the things now. So if that guy had gone to pick up the song, he might have been my godfather. I'd have been writing so much I'd have make more money, but at the same time, I probably would not have been happy.
Yeah, because so it's not having the godfather, it is about not being a conformist, it's about also not having the name recognition that some other people would have.
That's right. You don't want to...
Not conforming, you did a calypso love song. Now that is
You break my heart.
totally, I suppose, out of the norm for that time, using calypso to do a love song. Tell me about this.
Well, actually, this song was the guy who wrote All You Look For War. His name was David Durham, the late David Durham. Very good writer. And there's people like him never got recognized because they feel calypso must be, you have to be a calypso and you have to write and sing your own stuff. And that is what's so sad about calypso. For some people who have a good voice never came forward because they can't write. And the other way around, some people could write and they can't sing and they never go forward. But David Durham had written this song. But after years, I had forgotten his words and I remember some of his words. So I changed it over to change the words. I put in some new words in the song. But you have, the chorus group who I did this song with in Trinidad, the backup singers, the Friction. This was one of the favorites on the album, but a lot of stations didn't play it. So some people don't really be in love. And then I tried it again with Charmin. And that's a duet, and that Charmin is singing there with me.
And Charmin seemed to be more popular than Lydia. But I think retrospectively, Lydia is getting its recognition now because it is being hailed as one of the sweetest and dearest love songs of the Caribbean. So it takes a while, as you say, Becket grows on people.
That's news to me.
Yep.
I tell you what's getting a lot of recognition now is Wash Your Hand because of COVID.
Right.
I was just telling someone a couple of days ago I got my royalty statement for October. The second best honor on there is Wash Your Hand. And so was this the August the July statement too. So, and Christmas is usually a slow period for my society in terms of royalty. So maybe Wash Your Hand might give me a better Christmas this year.
This year, well, in every tragedy, there's always some sort of a silver lining. Right.
I have a nice one I working on for. I want to do a jingle on the COVID.
Yes. How would you say an artist, an entertainer could future-proof themselves? There's so many entertainers of your era who are passing to the great beyond, penniless and almost destitute. What would you advise the entertainers now and the creatives now to do to make sure that they are better off in the future than some of your contemporaries?
Well, I tell people you need to join societies, performance rights societies, especially for the writers, because when you have a hit, you get some live work and you go from country to country and you have good times, people treat you well, you meet friends, you make friends, and and that's one part of it. But the royalties from performance, and the only way you could, because people out there will try to steal your music too. So you need to join a society. If you can, like in my case, I'm my own publisher because, well, I have people who come at me now and want to be my publisher, but then they want to give you some lump sum money and then they'll never recoup it. So you don't want to go for those kind of things. So you need to try to hold on to your music, copyright your music first of all, and then you try to do original stuff. And so when you get a hit, you get some money from your society because your music is played, or especially in this time now with social media and all this stuff, and people would maybe put your song out there and send it to a friend and so on. So you have societies all over the world, places you can't dream of where your music would have been played. But these societies, you register your songs, and these societies out there, and they represent you. And once they know of your song, they would collect that money on your behalf. And then every 3 months you get paid. So you need to do things like this, because when the live shows slow down, although you don't get sometimes like what they did at Disney, that will bring in a lump sum, but then sometimes, you get small amounts, but those small amounts add up and they could buy some groceries for you. Yeah. So you need to have your music You need to be organized in that respect. And
you
have
need
your
to
music.
find different revenue streams to make sure that if one dries up or it is slow, that there's still something else coming in to sustain you.
And like I said, social media now, your stuff is playing in more places than you can count. Like I got the big, I'm still shocked as to how although I know of COVID, how Wash Your Hand gets so much,
Has taken off.
My second honor, yeah.
Yeah.
So after teaser.
Becket, what do you think is the future of Calypso?
Calypso in very good hands. I tell people that all the time because sometimes I listen to the junior Calypsos in St. Vincent. And sometimes I'm listening to, because I'm not familiar with some of the names, although I'll be familiar with some of the songs. You think you're listening to a semi-final in Trinidad. And that's without patting us on the back. And I went to Antigua. And I tell them, I was doing a radio interview. That's, I think, when I went up for the short thing. And I tell them, Calypso, the only thing now, Calypso in good hands, you're hearing good songs. The only thing is that they're not playing Calypso enough in St. Vincent and in the Caribbean, except for the one country I thought that they give a lot of credit to, that they play a lot of Calypsos in Grenada. And this is not to put you down on your effort. We appreciate people like Calypso College. I mentioned Calypso College in interview too, that doing it too, but we should be playing Calypso on a daily basis, not just at Independence time. We have to push our music. And we put out very good music in St. Vincent, but there's nobody pushing it. Nobody pushing it. And so I was telling people about in Antigua now, and I was doing this interview on Radio Observer, and they got so mad with me. I had to backpedal so fast and so and apologize because they felt hurt because they apparently they playing Calypso 24/7 in Antigua. And I know that Antigua, they're proud of the Calypso a long, long time. They love the social commentary. They love all the Calypsos. And Antigua, I tell people Antigua and Grenada, well, except for the so-called big islands, they have their things out there. They forever be pushing themselves. But for the little countries, Antigua and Grenada, they push Caribbean music. They play 24/7. In the other islands, we treat Calypso here as if, like how they treat us in America, we get to play here and there, and it should be the other way around. We should be pushing our music 24/7 and give the outside culture people, give their play a little play here and there. Because
so
we have the music. We have the
music. But what would you say about the argument of not having proper recordings of the songs? Because you can't get the artists to record the song. So what you have is a scratchy recording that's basically harvested from a tent performance or a Victoria Park performance. You hardly get studio recordings of Calypsos.
But my experience with that, I think people want to play what they record. We just talk about hyper. I heard a couple of days ago, I won't call the radio station name, the guy playing a hyper song. The party before your country. And the version he's playing is the one that hyper play from the tent. And here you have and Soca Inferno, hyper quality of recording, arrangement, when you put everything in one. I mean, you can't compare them. So how could a guy, my song, they play Carnival History. They played from when 705 recorded. I'm grateful for 705 for that. But you went and you made a better recording. They still play the one they identify with the one that they made. For me now, it's not a factor because I've been out there and I've done it. So it's not really too much of a factor for me. But a guy from Hyper that we're trying to get out there, who been around for years and have some talent, and we try to get him out there. When you're going to play Hyper, you play the best quality Hyper. So sometimes it's not, and I think a lot of the times the guys play the thing that they recorded in the tent because they're part of it. They are a part of it and they identify with it. So, and then to honor your point, yes, when people can't play stuff if it's not good quality. So when you're going to do a production, you must make sure that, and then I heard some song that they played on the radio maybe this morning. How could you ever put that song on the radio to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines? No. We can't do that. If there's an error in the recording, we can't just put it out there because it's kicksy and you know.
So we need to
like
find some sort of way to support the artists in producing their music at carnival time so that we can have, as you say, quality that is deserving of promotion as opposed to just putting something out there because it's funny.
And in all fairness, the quality has improved. I don't think it's more on the quality. I think more is the people who may want to invest in calypso. The style of the calypso is not their style. It's not something they would gravitate to. So it's not appealing to them, and if it's not appealing to them, they won't want to invest their money in it. So there's some of it too. And
there's
and
no one solution. You need a whole study to figure out how we're going to deal with that.
We need to have a forum on this.
We're coming to the end of Pure Vincy. Tell me, what are some of your favorite Becket songs? I know Don't Look Down on a Man is one. What are some of your other favorites?
I think the best song ever written is a song called Rights, because it have a lot of God-fearing lyrics inside there. But it's the song that I think may have cost me my career. So a lot of people in high places don't like some of the words there, and they'll do anything to bury a Becket to keep me down. But I tend to love all my songs. It's like asking a parent to pick the best child. That's one, that the Rights. I love Rights. I think you listen to the words of Rights. And whenever I sang it at the show here in St.Vincent a couple of years ago, and a couple came backstage and asked me where this song was all these years. And
let's listen to a little bit of it then.
Take a look at the world today. We go from bad to worse each day. And when you really check it out, it's all because of wrong and right. I tell you bad right, wrong right, lie right. But when we reach my heaven's door, we go down right for sure. Get away from heaven's door, brother, you ain't right no more.
And Becket, in the same way as you have been influenced by quite a few people, by Phipps, by Mikey, by Viv Richards, by Frankie, I am sure you have some artists, whether internationally or regionally, who have influenced you. Who are they, and what are some of your favorite songs from them?
Mighty Sparrow. I can't start naming them since I'm married Dorothy. That's the first song I remember singing as a kid. My grandmother's name was Dorothy. It's in the makeup. Since I'm married Dorothy, she had me going crazy. She had a sailor man. She had a Yankee man. So Sparrow, and I would say I was a Sparrow diehard in the early days. You couldn't tell about anybody else. But as I grew older and I ventured out and became a calypsonian and met the guys, I realized there were so many other great artists out there. Kitchener is a genius of a writer. Sparrow is a genius of a singer. I love Nat King Cole. Influenced by him. I have been influenced by him, I should say. And in St.Vincent, Sheller. I love Sheller. Scorcher. I was a Scorcher fan. When I used to play pan, Scorcher was singing. And the one guy that I think that could have been a great, that never really, he reminded me of my uncle. My uncle, I tell you, was the second best singer in the family, my uncle Leon. They just, I think, just waiting for people to help them. You have to help yourself. People can only do so much. And that's Turkey. Turkey is one of the greatest voices I've ever heard in Calypso. Great singer. He won the crown, I think, is either 68 or 69 with Crooked King. That's something you need to get to play for Calypso College. 705 should have a copy of it. That's one of the songs that I had never really heard, and was one of the great Vincentian calypsos of all times. I love Leader, Lord Hawk. People will be surprised, but I was influenced a lot by the Merrymen. I loved how they made catchy songs, and I used to sing their songs a lot in the shower. And I'll sing most of my shower songs or American songs. I sang some Glenn Campbell on the way to the beach, so singing it through some place in Leigh School. When you sing Galveston, when you're passing through the school to go down to the beach, you'll hear like the echo, very good acoustics. And I would say after you get to a certain age, you're just being influenced by just about everybody. You just recognize a good song and you say, boy, I wish. Sometimes you hear a song. That's how I know that you're being influenced. I wish I had written that song. The song by Lord Nelson, King Lear. I didn't get that song. And a song by our own here, the gentleman, he passed away now, from Kittels, who lived in Trinidad, who sang Beneath the Surface.
Yeah. Prowler, Mystic Prowler. Mystic
Prowler, that's right. So when you hear, the great songs and songs like Perseverance, would have come along later, but one of the great Vincentian classics of all times, I just saying, boy, what is there batting about this song? And I've been telling Frankie about this gentleman for years, and finally Frankie's on board, and I have tremendous respect for Brother Ebony. And Nothing at All, his Nothing at All is one of the great calypsos. And Nothing at All by Sheller is also one of the great calypsos. Same title, but two different songs altogether. And so when I hear Brother Ebony, and the only criticism I could come up for Brother Ebony's song, Nothing at All, is that he don't have enough Leeward names in it.
Okay, so the remix is on its way.
Yeah. I say, when I see Ebony, I was thinking, boy, what blunders in this song? What could have been better? What could have been? And I thinking he ain't calling enough Leeward names, but then he have Gordon Yard and thing in it, so you can't knock him in. But it's a great song.
What's song like that?
I wish I had written a song like that. And Frankie now is Ebony, one of Ebony's biggest fan. And for years I was telling him when Ebony made this song about George Bush, something like Bush. Yes. And Ebony and I a good old spar from. He was the opening batter at Spectacular. Yeah. When I was playing Spectacular, he started the 10th every night. Very, very nice, humble guy. And you have to, I say, after so many years in the business, you have to give respect where respect is due. And my hat's off to Brother Ebony. He's one of the greats.
Yeah. What's
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what a lovely place. Opportunity for every class, creed and race. Once you're ready, once you're able, once you're willing to work real hard, you're bound to own something. But for years and years, I'm working hard like a mule, and all I get is blisters and ridicule. And when I look around SVG, every Tom, Dick and Harry has something, except Brother Ebony. I see George, he have a tongue, and King, he have one too. Paul have a lot, and he have a avenue. Dash, Tarryland and Green, them fellas have hill. And the man Ratto, he controlling a mill. Faye, Harmony and Rose, them women have all. But Brother Ebony ain't have nothing. nothing at all. Yes, brother Ebony ain't have nothing at all. There are people that I know personally and always thought that they have nothing like me. Take for instance Claire, a lady living next to me. I didn't even know that Claire have a valley. And my cousin Rose, always like a vagrant. I didn't even know that my cousin Rose have a bank. I had two partners in Becket. We worked together every day and didn't know Sandy and Indian have they. Fabian have a pasture, Fenton have a mountain, Gibson have a corner, Sally she have a spring, Her Majesty the Queen, and even living in St.Vincent. But she have a drive and she have a prison. A old Chinese man named Long, he and all have a wall. But brother Ebony ain't have nothing at all. Yes, brother Ebony ain't have nothing at all. See, I work well hard and there's always hope and pray that I, Ebony, will have something someday. Just like how Rose have a place and Cara a pan. Lorders have estate and Comba have land. A Trinidadian man named South, he have rivers. And Rabo and Chuma, both of them had cars. O'Brien have a valley, Dunbarton have a cemetery, and still nothing for Ebony. You see Gordon, he have a yard, and Byra, he have a bridge. Kane have a garden, Chapman have a village. Calder and Trigger, both of them are rich. Descent and Chester, them two have cottage. Camden he have a park, and Utley he have a hall. But brother Ebony ain't have nothing at all, at all. Cause brother Ebony ain't have nothing at all. There are Vincentians I know who have everything, yet all kind of petty crime that they committing. Take for instance Glenn, thief a bag of pal over from Roseau, and running up Mackie's Hill it drop down on Chateau. And Edin borrow money from the man Clifton, and still go in Great House and thief Daphne Diamond. Craig, Simon and Riley go Gun Hill for gun to kill Bonnie. Macocia's kid tell the police on see. Victoria, she have a park, and Belvid, he have a deer. Rutland have a vale, and Bentic, he have a square. A lady named VG, she have a highway. And this man Paget have a farm in Beckway. Marian have a house, and Kane, he have a hall. But brother Ebony ain't have nothing at all, at all. Cause brother Ebony ain't have nothing at all.
Becket?
I can't. I hoping to. I would like to do a Vincy album with songs like Is Notre Dame, you know. But then again, it's so hard to sell a Vincy album. An album's not even selling. What next for me might be the poverty line.
Absolutely
songs ain't even selling like before. People, you can't control. You make a song now and you send it out on social media and you tell people if you like it, you could download it for 99 cents. Nobody who can pay to download something they could get for free. So,
right. It's a challenge because the quality on social media is just as good, or it's certainly acceptable enough for people to know.
Right, but they're not buying it. They're not buying it, and we all part of it because, you know, I don't know. I just everything is divine guidance. I want to get back on my guitar. I put up a little house thanks to all the people, all the fans who supported me. I was able to build a little house in Leyu here, and I'm grateful for the little 10 cents that you put into it. It helped to buy some paint, some blocks, or something, and all the people who helped me to build it. I want to get back on the guitar and write more songs and like the big jump I want to make. I want to do a permanent gospel something. Permanent. Okay. Turn my life over to the Lord.
Well, there's still a lot to look forward to from Becket.
Right. If once I touch that, I'm going all the way.
Okay.
I'm going all the way. I don't want to go there and turn back, and I don't want to be called a backslider like Slider. My God, that's Slider.
I mean, I guess, yes, there's certain things that you won't want to do if you decide to tread the road of gospel. But at the same time, you have so many songs that you have written that will be relevant regardless to what genre you find yourself in. They will always be relevant.
You just hit the hammer on the nail. If I would sing songs like Rights.
Right, like Oppression, Don't Look Down on the Man, Hezekiah, Cardo. You have an endless list.
That's right. I never even thought about that. You see, that's the reward for doing this interview with you today. I have my journal, so I can seek the Lord sooner. I know Lord
and you know that you still have a wide repertoire to entertain us with.
That's right, that's right. But you know, you're gonna have people come in there and try to tell you, boy, I pay to come in here tonight, and if you ain't saying teaser, you go back and all. But maybe
no, I think you will get your. I think people will accept who you are and what you have evolved into. We have watched you change from one genre to the next and watch all your different themes and the way you deal with different topics. But I think over time we will come to accept whatever Becket gives us.
And I would sing this one. I can't live without singing this one. Happy, happy birthday to you, SVG. You gotta help me sing. Happy, happy birthday to you, SVG.
Becket, my voice is terrible.
SVG. Happy birthday to you, SVG. You so nice, SVG. Like sugar and spice, SVG. And like the morning dew, SVG. We'll always love you, SVG. For all the things you have done for we have to sing you this melody. Happy, happy anniversary to you, SVG. Happy 42nd to you, SVG. Happy anniversary to you, SVG. May the good Lord always bless you, SVG. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. You have made, look, this is the highlight of my career on Sweet Radio SVG. As I told you, I have been wanting to do this forever. Becket, please, just make my evening. Give me a verse and chorus of St. Vincent, I Love You. Let's wrap up with that. Before you start, let me just say, this has been Pure Vincy on Sweet Radio SVG, and this interview with Becket brings us to the end of our October 2021 series, Vincy Icons. We did a program featuring Becket earlier in the year called Vincy Giants, and I promised you then that we would get down to a one-on-one discussion with Becket. And this has been it, and it has been phenomenal. Becket, Thank you ever so much. Please
Thank you, Cleo.
Give us SVG, I love you.
SVG, my homeland. You gave me no mansion, no gold, no diamond. Yet I love you a million for the things that you have to offer. Is more than my heart's desire. Lovely beach, tropical breeze, always there within my reach. I love you, SVG. Me sweet little island, SVG. I love you, SVG. Home of the blessed SVG. St.Vincent and the Grenadines. I love you. Yeah, so one, folks. Can look at the sunrise. Have a good evening. God bless. Happy independence to all Vincentians everywhere. And love and blessings to all people everywhere. Thanks for having me. God bless.
Thank you, Becket. Mwah.
Thank you.